Hey guys, welcome to the Killing the Tea podcast. This is Gare,
And Kate.
and we are going to be discussing all things chills, thrills, and kills. Kate and I are going to be talking about our favorite books, TV shows, and movies that are in the thriller or crime fiction genre, as well as some reading habits and other items related to how we met on Bookstagram that will fit in with this podcast. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you have fun and get totally terrified.
I didn't really pay attention to the pages in like the page count in books until I started talking to you more
Hmm.
because for whatever reason, just when you read it on Kindle, you just sometimes you just don't even conceptualize it or think about it because you don't see the physical book. And
Right.
then I got Hellbent in Ninth House and I was like, holy shit, these were long books.
I know that's how I felt about the Shards.
Oh yeah.
When I was like reading it, like it took me a couple of days. So I was like, well, it's really good. I'm into it, whatever. And
Mhm.
then all of a sudden I got my physical copy and I was
Yeah.
like, damn, that is big,
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah. At least it's good, big, massive.
Yeah. I'm going to apologize in advance. I sound like a weirdo because I have some sort of cold. I don't know what it is. I'm
Yeah.
not stuffy. It just hurts when I swallow.
Which, is problematic.
I mean, it's so I'm not doing anything this weekend.
You're gonna be in your weekend sweatshirt at home.
So yeah, so I apologize if my voice goes out or if I sound like a frog. Um, but because like in
Which,
my mind when I woke up this morning, like I was like, oh, you don't sound that bad. Because I was
yeah.
like brushing my teeth and I'm like, red jacket, yellow jacket, red jacket, yellow jacket. And I'm like, oh, I don't sound that different. But then like my boss was like, oh, you sound like shit. And I was like, oh, thanks. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have
I
my
wish I
hot
could hand
tea.
you some tea. Oh, I was just about to say I wish I could hand you some tea through the screen.
Hmm. My cold 911 tea from
Nice.
David's Tea, which I love, and the
Hmm.
turtle Native American mug that my aunt got me,
Oh, I love it.
I also love. So, but yeah, I am very excited for today.
Hmm.
I am very
Sorry,
excited
a
for,
person
uh,
appeared.
is it Tyler?
Yes, it was.
Well,
I left
obviously,
my.
who else
Well,
would,
let's hope.
yeah, you're like, oh, sorry, somebody just broke into my house. You can continue that in a second.
Carry
Um,
on.
very excited for upcoming things.
Hmm.
Um, which leads me to my icebreaker.
I'm so excited that you have one.
I have one. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I am a huge, 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 huge Scream fan. Like, I think it's
Hmm.
the best franchise in the world. Not just horror franchise, but like franchise altogether. Like, it is my
Yeah.
jam. Love it. Um, so the sixth movie comes out on Friday. And rumor has it that the seventh movie has already been greenlit. So people are like freaking out, freaking their freak. So my question for you is, out of any movie that you could pick, if you could choose what movie got a sequel or
Okay.
what series continued for another movie, which would you pick?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. Let me think. I'm gonna have to think hard on this one.
And if you want, we can just start recording or
Hmm.
continue to record. And then maybe at the end of the episode, you can be like,
That's a good idea. Yeah. It'll be an ending icebreaker.
mm-hmm, okay.
Yeah. I'll think about it. Because now
Yeah.
I need to think back. I don't watch as many movies as I read books. So it'll slowly come to me.
It could be a movie that was like a solo movie that like didn't have a
Mhm.
sequel. It could
Yeah.
be a franchise that you want to see another movie of.
Yes.
um Maybe a TV show that you want another season of. The good thing about a
Okay.
podcast is we can bend our own rules. So
That's true. We are in charge here.
yes, yeah. And speaking of new seasons, the second half
Yes.
of You comes out soon. Season
2
4.
days.
2 days.
Well, when this airs, one day.
Mm-hmm. So amazing, amazing idea from you was,
Mhm.
hey, everybody loves you. Like, who doesn't love it?
Who doesn't?
So if you are
Who?
caught up and you're going to
Mhm.
binge all of those episodes on the day that they come out,
Yes.
which I can't because my TV partner slash my mom, who is a
I
huge You
know.
fan, is on a cruise. So she's enjoying Cartagena and all of these beautiful, like Cozumel, all
Oh
these
my
amazing
gosh.
locations. So good for her.
Right?
I'm going to get rid of whatever cold I have
Yeah.
and pick her up in a week and however many days. So,
Mhm.
um, I won't be able to watch them until at least the 19th, which is when she comes
Yeah.
back.
And you watched the first part of You before me because I was having a similar issue where Tyler was traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't watch it until recently. And then when I was watching, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to talk about books that you can read if you love you.
Yes, and I love this idea.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I am interested to see if we picked any of the same ones.
I'm very curious because I picked 5
Uh-huh. Me too.
and I was like, let me look. I think that like there's 3 of them
Mm-hmm.
that you're gonna be like, that's a good idea, or like, oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 that I
Mm-hmm.
could see us having the same ones of, but I was like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. We'll see.
So because it was your idea,
Mm-hmm.
because you are the baby genius that you are, I think you should kick it off.
Yeah. Well,
If
the
you hear
first one,
rustling, will you let me know?
yeah. Rustling. Yes.
I have a blanket on my lap because whatever I have going on with this cold
Uh-huh.
is giving me the chills, which I'm not used to because I'm always so like warm. So I'm
Yeah.
like snuggling under a
Yeah.
blanket, and if you hear it rustling, just be like, knock it off, Garrett. Stop
Okay.
fidgeting.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, just yell at me
Yes, I will
because I
tell you if
love
you
it.
rustle. Yeah, you
Hmm.
do.
I do.
um I'm just totally distracted now. But the first one that actually came to mind is what I'll start with.
Hmm.
And I have talked about it before, but it's just too perfect for this. So if you love a likable villain, Blood Sugar by Sasha Rothschild would
Ooh,
be
very good.
an amazing, fun read for you, especially if you just finished You and you're like, I need a similar experience. So, Blood Sugar. Though she may be a murderer, Ruby is not a sociopath. She's an animal loving therapist with a thriving practice. She's felt empathy and sympathy. She's had long lasting friendships and relationships and has a husband, Jason, whom she adores. But the homicide detectives at Miami Beach PD are not convinced of her happy marriage. When we meet Ruby, she is in a police interrogation room being accused of Jason's murder, which ironically is one murder that she did not commit, though her vicious mother in law and a scandal obsessed public believe differently. As she undergoes questioning, Ruby's mind races back to all the details of her life that led her to this exact moment and to the 3 dead bodies in her wake. Because though she may not have killed her husband, Ruby certainly isn't innocent. And the tagline for the book is she's accused of 4 murders. She's only guilty of 3. So unique, so fun.
I love that book.
Yeah, I
That was so
devoured
good.
it. Mm-hmm.
That's such a good choice, too. I
Yeah.
also love when the synopsis to a book gives you like a very like ominous twist in the plot. Like when it's like, she's in questioning
Yeah.
for her husband's murder. And you're
Yes.
like, oh, another book about the murdered husband. And then it's like, but I mean, this is the one murder she didn't commit because she's also
You're like,
killed like 3 people before. You're like,
yes.
oh,
Oh, go on.
she might be a little Amy Dunn would read this book.
Yes, she would for research.
Amy Dunn would devour this book. If Amy Dunn had a bookstagram, it would be nothing but different pictures of blood sugar from different angles.
Yes, and it is a beautiful book, so it would be worthy of the
Yeah,
pictures.
yes, 100%. I love that book. It was so good.
Yeah, it's really good. And she's really cool. Sasha is.
Hmm. She's like a fiery, like little redhead too, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a lot physically a lot like Ruby.
I love when you have a redhead character who's like named like Ruby.
I know. It's like so on the
It's like so
nose.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
in a
we
good
loved
way.
Ruby.
I know. I
I have a.
cried in
You did?
mm-hmm.
I'm just a dried up old prune. Ain't getting
It's
any tears out
okay.
of me.
I
Speaking of,
cry easily. I always have.
I'm not a crier. I
Yeah.
used to be when I was a drinker. Like my friend Tyler would like give me like, it's
Oh.
okay. Like, like he'd like say things about like, will you just cry more than I do? It's okay. A good cry is every good, like good now and then. And then like we were
It
talking
is.
about something the other day and like he was like, when was the last time you cried? And I was like, April. And he's like, oh my God.
The fact that you know the month impresses me.
Was when I shed my skin
Yeah,
and
I
became
get it.
sober. Became sober.
Yeah.
I never had a drinking problem. I just realized that I had unhealthy mental emotions.
Yeah.
Unhealthy mental emotions. Kind of works.
Mm, yeah.
When I was drinking, and I was like, you know what, alcohol's not good for me anymore. So I had one good cry
Right.
and got it out of my system, and now I love the hell out of mocktails, which
Ooh, you had some good ones, didn't you?
fucking did. So there's this
Nice.
restaurant in Canada that
Mm-hmm.
has like it's just like such a cool vibe, like
Mm-hmm.
dark lighting, which we love, like
Yes.
wood, like wood everywhere, just like chic and cool and dark lighting, and
Mm-hmm.
they make wood fired pizzas, but the wood
Those are the
fire
best.
oven is in the middle of the restaurant. So like you're
Oh,
just like chilling with your friends, vibing, and like see this guy just like fucking twirling pizzas, shoving them in the oven, taking them out, doing a little
oh my gosh, I
shimmy.
love that. Did you
Hmm.
see the popcorn guy on TikTok?
No.
If not, we'll just skip forward. I'll send it to you later and you'll know why I
Okay.
asked.
Okay. For next week.
Yeah.
Um, so I went to that restaurant on Friday with my friend Nicole because my friend Nicole has two very young girls. So for her to have a Friday night where she can get out of the house, it's
Mm-hmm.
like kind of a big deal to her, right?
Yeah.
So we go there to the place is called Schnitzel's. It's in Cornwall, Ontario. So I went there with my friend Nicole and had a spicy virgin margarita.
Mm.
And then my friend Hannah, who lives hours away, came to visit, and I went again last night and
You went
had
to the same place.
oh yeah, because well, my
I
friend
love it.
Hannah, like she was like, like she kind of did dry January, and she's like, I don't really mind going out to dinner and not drinking,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, I'll have one now and then, but
Right.
basically she was like, we've been having like her and her husband have been having mocktails at home
Yeah.
sometimes, and she's gotten into reading, and
Hmm.
so she was like, let's go out to dinner, and I want to try these mocktails that you love. So I had
That's
another
awesome.
virgin margarita last night, and it was spicier last night than it was Friday.
Ooh,
But that's my story. Little social
love it.
butterfly that I was in the
You
past week. I
are.
know. I know. Now no one's gonna see me again until summer.
Right. That's how I
Yeah.
feel when that happens.
But your girl Ruby,
Mm-hmm.
if she had a cool older sister
Mm-hmm.
with red hair, whose name is Scarlett,
Yeah, yeah.
then I would say, um, there's something about Joe Goldberg in you,
Mm-hmm.
like books and the show, that like you're like, Joe, like this, what you're doing is not right.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of just following love. Sometimes he feels like a vigilante, and sometimes he just feels like an unhinged serial killer. And I love that
Yeah.
in him. But
Mm-hmm.
if you like the unhinged vigilante that you want to root for, then you should meet my girl Scarlett Clark. She is from the book They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, which we've talked about before and we love.
Yes.
Scarlett is an exceptional English professor, but she's even better at getting away with murder. Every year, she searches for the worst man at Gorman University and plots his well-deserved demise. Thanks to her meticulous planning, she's avoided drawing attention to herself. But as she's preparing for her biggest kill yet, the school starts probing into the growing body count on campus. Determined to keep her enemies close, Scarlett insinuates herself into the investigation and charms the woman in charge, Dr. Mina Pierce. Everything's going according to her master plan until she loses control with her latest victim, putting her secret life at risk of exposure. Meanwhile, Gorman student Carly Schiller is just trying to survive her freshman year. Finally free of her emotionally abusive father, all Carly wants is to focus on her studies and fade into the background. Her new roommate has other ideas. Allison Hadley is cool and confident, everything Carly wishes she could be, and the two girls form an intense friendship. So when Allison is sexually assaulted at a party, Carly becomes obsessed with making the attacker pay and turning her fantasies about revenge into reality.
Mm. That one also like fits how there's like a dark academia vibe to this season of You.
Mm-hmm. I know.
You're like, it's why I picked it. It was one of my backups because I was
Was it?
like, yeah, so like I had like 6 and I was like, then at least if we have some that are the same, and that was my backup.
Do you want to hear
But
how this played out in my head?
yeah,
I went to like pick that one and I was like, Kate's gonna pick that.
that's hilarious.
And then I was like, because what I do on Tuesdays is I write down on a post-it note what ones I'm gonna pick, and then I like eliminate or whatever.
Right.
Um, I was like, Kate's gonna pick that one. And then I was like, you know what? A couple weeks ago we picked the same thing and I gave it to her. So if you said
Yeah,
anything,
that's
I'd be
true.
like, I gave you one a couple weeks ago. I'm
You're like, I
taking
gave
this
you
one.
his and hers.
I'm taking Scarlet.
Yes. That's
Because let's
amazing.
be
And
honest, the only two
oh,
authors that we would actually fight over, like, no, she's mine, Alice Feeney and Lane
yes,
Fargo, right?
yes,
So it
yes.
makes sense.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
No.
That's for sure.
Mm-mm.
That I loved that one so much though, and it's kind of steamy in the way that the earlier seasons of You were. Did you sidebar? Did you see the interview that Penn Badgley did, where he talked about how he asked to do less intimate scenes because he's married now?
Yes.
What are your feelings? Because I was like, but you're an actor.
Okay. So if you are watching You and you want to see Joe getting if you
That
want to
was
see
cute.
Joe get it on, if you want to see Joe naked like I do,
Uh-huh.
it sucks, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sucks. Um, I think at this point when you're in the fourth season of a show,
Yeah.
um, the love scenes, the love making, the sex, the dirty, whatever, doesn't need to be as intense and eye-opening as say it is on Euphoria.
Yeah.
Because you're fourth season in the show, right? So for me, I actually was like, ah, damn, I wanted to see Joe kind of, shedding some clothes. But for him and his wife, I respect it because if I were married to an actor, which
Uh-huh.
Jacob Elordi, if you're listening, I'm just waiting for you to pop the big question.
Just waiting.
I would be very happy that my husband made that decision out
Mhm.
of comfort for it. Because I mean, how many times do you have that stereotypical thing where two actors are filming a bunch of sex scenes in a movie and then they develop feelings for each other, Brad
Yeah.
Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Kristen Stewart cheated on Robert Pattinson with some film director
That's what I thought.
and now he's Batman. I mean,
That's
so granted, Kristen Stewart, I think, is
yeah. I just thought it was interesting because purely from the standpoint of if you marry an actor, I feel like you expect that to happen.
mhm.
But I completely agree with you that it's not like super necessary to the show. And I still feel like they pulled off sexual tension better than I thought they would. because I saw that interview before we even watched the season. And then when I was watching it, I was like, I don't know that I would have noticed too much. I don't think I would have picked up on it much if I hadn't read that interview.
Yeah, I felt the same way because I watched it before I read that interview or saw that. But there's also things that are like in people's clauses,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I know Nev Campbell is someone who has like a no nudity clause in her
Mm-hmm.
contracts.
Yeah.
And she was in Wild Things, which is one of like the sexiest movies of all time.
Right.
So, you know,
Yeah.
you can do things like that. It's respectful to him, but we also don't know if maybe originally the script for
Mm-hmm.
you, maybe he just felt that some of the sex scenes were a
Mm-hmm.
little too much, like whether they were
Yeah.
too graphic or too often. So that could be
Right.
another thing too. I
Right.
mean, they gave us a big old Pierce penis.
They did give us Pierce
So we don't
penis.
know what other tricks they had up their sleeves,
You're right.
you know?
You're right.
So
there's our there is our what is
not
the
that
word? There's our U tangent or our Joe
I
or Pin Badgley tangent.
yeah.
But if you are a fan of lovable serial killers again, which was actually what I said about my first one, um, you should read Look What Made You Do. Wow. Look What You Made Me Do. Did I steal yours?
Yep.
You could you could talk about the sequel.
No, because the sequel, the synopsis to the sequel is a spoiler.
Oh, you're right. It is. You're right. So everybody knows now it's a kind of a series by Elaine Murphy,
Mhm.
and it is about Carrie. Carrie wants a normal life. Carrie Lawrence doesn't need a happily ever after. She'll just settle for after. After a decade of helping her sister hide her victims, after a lifetime of lies. She just wants to be safe, boring, and not trekking through the woods at night with a dead body wrapped in a carpet. Becca wants to get away with murder. Becca Lawrence doesn't believe in happily ever after because she's already happy. She's gotten away with murder for a decade and has blackmailed her sister into helping her hide the evidence. What more could a girl want? But first, they have to stop a serial killer. When 13 bodies are discovered in their small town, people are shocked, but not as shocked as Carrie, who thought she knew all the details of Becca's sordid pastime. When Becca swears she's not behind the grisly new crimes, they realize the town has a second serial killer who has the sisters in his sights, and what he wants is Carrie. And it's the other reason I thought of it is because it's really snarky, dark comedy,
Mhm.
which is, as I was watching this new season of You, I was even texting you, and I forgot how fucking funny Joe Goldberg is. And
So
this book
funny.
is really funny in
So
its
funny.
darkness.
And it's dark and twisty ways.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun one.
That's such a fun book. I love the snarkiness in it. I love the
Mm-hmm.
sequel. I'm I can't wait to see what else she does.
I know.
It's again, you have a theme with Blood Sugar in this where they kind of
I
give
do.
you this. There's a serial killer in
Yeah.
my small town,
Yes.
and all of these bodies were found, but it's not my sister, the serial killer. It's another person who's a serial killer. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like it's kind
Yeah.
of that, like you
There's
read that
almost a
synopsis.
twist given away in the
Wow.
synopsis.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but not because there's so much more to
There's
come.
so many more. Yeah.
But yeah, I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
Becca's like my jam.
She's very cool. When I asked her about writing the funny parts too, she was just like, I know people say they're funny, but I was just kind of like, what would I think in this situation if I was dealing with this with my sister? And I was like, that's even funnier that that's your answer.
Right? Like she's just like normal to her.
She's like, I didn't even think it was that funny. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I love it. I
Mm-hmm.
love that book so much.
It's so good.
She like perfectly like captured so many like cinematic, creepy moments that would be like really well on film.
Yes.
Um, and like the darkness to it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Victoria Pedretti
Yes.
as Carrie,
Mm-hmm.
speaking of you, and
Yeah.
Emma Roberts as Carrie. No, Becca. Emma Roberts
Becca.
as Becca.
Yeah. That would be really good.
I would love to see that. So that's my contribution since you stole my book.
I did feel it.
But I don't have a transition other than the fact that I'm listing off this book in case you already picked it.
You're like, this one you might have stolen.
I'm like, I'm just gonna take this one before because this is
Hmm.
the I don't think my other you would pick.
Hmm.
Um, even though I have a really good transition for a book that I did pick, but I'm saving it for last because of my
You
love
got to
for it.
get this
But
one.
I gotta get this one because yours is like your theme is books that kind of give you a little bit of a spoiler, a little bit of like a zhuzh
Mm-hmm.
in the plot. And
Yep.
mine must be 4 out of 5 of mine are dark academia.
Ooh, nice.
So mine next one is Never Saw Me Coming by Vera Kirian. Did you pick that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. I still need to read this
So,
one.
oh, you haven't read it?
Haven't read it yet. You told me it was one of your trifecta, so it's like in my list, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, Nice Girls by Catherine Dang,
Yep.
and Never Saw Me Coming by Vera Kirian.
Yeah.
So if you are in a reading rut because you read 2 books that just did not work for you, the one that you're reading now
Mm,
that is working for you,
I
this puppy
love
right
it.
here, Gone Again by
Oh,
Mika Kent.
yes.
It is a very quick
I'm
read.
20% of the way through already.
It's very, very quick. So when you
Yeah.
finish this, you're going to be on a high because you're going to be like, that was great. I don't want
Mm,
this ball to stop rolling.
no.
This is your next book.
Nice.
Dark
I'll look for it.
Academia. It's They Never Learn vibes. It's kind of you vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But you will love this book.
Mm,
It is about Chloe, a freshman honor student, leggings wearing hot girl next door, who also happens to be a psychopath. Her hobbies include yoga lattes, frat parties, and plotting to kill Will Bachman, a childhood friend who grievously wronged her. Chloe is one of 7 students at her DC based college who are part of an unusual clinical study for psychopaths, students like herself who lack empathy and cannot comprehend emotions like fear or guilt. This study, led by renowned psychologists, requires them to wear smartwatches that track their moods and movements. When one of the students in the study is found murdered in the psychology building, a dangerous game of cat and mouse begins, and Chloe goes from hunter to prey. As she races to identify the killer and put her own plan into action, she'll be forced to decide if she can trust any of her fellow psychopaths, and everyone knows you should never trust a psychopath.
never. Never
Ever.
ever.
You will love this. Okay. You got the
It
snarkiness.
sounds so good.
Um, Something I think that I love about this that like we kind of find funny about like Look What You Made Me Do is the
Mhm.
plot to this one.
Oh yeah.
When you have a psychopath who has no fear, guilt, or empathy, this girl is going to this college and she's like, I'm gonna fucking murder this guy. Okay. Like Will Bachman is gonna be like dead,
Dead.
dead, dead. And then somebody dies in this program she's in, and it's like, fuck me. Like all I'm trying to do is plot a murder, and now I have to like try to like survive
Love
a
it.
psychopath, and I'm kind of annoyed.
I love that.
So
That
you
sounds so
will
fun.
absolutely
That will
love
be
this
my
book.
next one. I'll read
Yeah.
that one next. And then maybe I'll read
Yeah,
Nice
you
Girls
will love
after
it.
that.
Uh, okay, I'm just gonna say it. You need to be in a good mood when you read Nice Girls
I need to be
because
in a good
I don't want you to leave me as a friend.
Oh, is it that heartbreaking?
It's heartbreaking, it's sad, and it also is very bleak. cover to
Yeah.
cover,
Okay.
So you have your, I mean, the plot to Nice Girls is literally like a girl who gets kicked out of college for no reason. Well,
Mhm.
not for no reason. She gets kicked out of college for a reason you don't know.
Yeah.
Goes back to her hometown, and like her friend, who's this like beautiful blonde, popular social
Hmm.
media influencer, goes missing.
Hmm.
And she thinks it's related to other people who have gone missing. And it shows how the other people that she thinks it could be related to,
Hmm.
one of them is a woman of color.
Hmm.
So you have the woman of color, and the cops are like, run away. No, she came from a poor family. You know,
Yeah.
you have the popular blonde girl who goes missing, and there's flyers, search parties. The police are taking it seriously from like 30
Yep.
seconds after she doesn't answer her cell phone.
Right.
So, but it also deals with, in a sense of, bleakness, it deals with what happens to women, their
Hmm.
who they are, where they come from, what their lifestyle is like. There are horrible things that happen to women when they go missing in our country and across the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
So, but I think
Consider
you will also
myself
love it.
warned.
Yeah, consider yourself. Because I'll tell you what, I was like, my homegirl's gonna love the woman inside. And then you were like, that was really good, but it was
I
really
did love
bleak.
it. It was
You
sad.
loved it, but you were a little depressed.
I was a little
I
depressed.
want to be depressed. I
No,
want to be
yeah.
emotionally ruined at the end of a thriller.
Yes, you do.
Did you read White Ivy?
Yeah, I really liked that one. That one was
That one was
fun.
pretty depressing too. Mhm.
It was. You're right. It's one.
You're-
I'm like,
the
yeah.
look on your face, you were like, come to think of it, am I
Like
desensitized from
it
some
was
of these
sad.
bleak books? Yeah,
Oh my
I just want to
gosh. What
I just want to be
else? I feel like
emotionally
there's
traumatized.
I'll be emotionally
The
traumatized.
Shards.
The Shards, The Last of Us. Oh my god. You'll be fucked up. Also, since I'm on side notes right now, you are going to freak out about how perfect the Euphoria references are in episode 7 of Poker Face. You're gonna die. It was so
Okay.
funny. And you're just gonna love the episode. It's a great episode. I
I
thought of that
will.
earlier.
I definitely want to check it out. Do you think it's something that's appropriate to watch with your family?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's tame.
Okay.
There I don't think there are any sex scenes. That one, that's what I was thinking of. That was making me so sad. And it felt like nothing was happening.
The bleakest of the bleak.
That was the
Every
bleakest.
trigger warning known to man is in this book.
Yeah. I wanted to
I
like
love
it
that though.
so badly.
I love that though. I love how we can love so many books, and I'm like, it's just like funny. Like we have so much in common.
Mhm.
And I read On the Savage Side, and I was like, I'm obsessed with this book. It's going to be one of my favorite books of the year. And like,
Yeah.
you were just like, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah. Too much prose for me, I
Too
think is what it
literary.
was.
Hmm.
Yeah. So my next one is actually one that you recommended to me and I read recently and I loved it so much. I could not put it down. And that is Bathhouse by PJ Vernon. If what you love about you is the kind of like creepy, obsessive relationship vibes, this would be one for you. Oliver Park, a young recovering addict from Indiana, finally has everything he ever wanted: sobriety and a loving, wealthy partner in Nathan, a prominent DC trauma surgeon. Despite their difference in age and disparate backgrounds, they've made a perfect life together. With everything to lose, Oliver should be visiting Haus, a gay bathhouse, but through the entrance he goes and it's a line crossed. Inside, he follows a man into a private room, and it's the final line. Whatever happens next, Nathan can never know. But then everything goes wrong, terribly wrong, and Oliver barely escapes with his life. He races home in full-blown terror as the hand-shaped ruse grows dark on his neck. The truth will destroy Nathan and everything they have together, so Oliver does the thing he used to do so well. He lies. What follows is a classic runaway train narrative full of exquisite escalations, edge of your seat thrills, and oh my god, twists. It is so fun.
So fun.
Lots of toxic relationships in it too, but like in an entertaining way, the way
The
you
best.
is.
If you are like Kate and
Mhm.
you're a little, devastated that there's not going to be hot graphic sex in this upcoming season of you little horn dogs, then
Yeah,
Bathhouse has plenty of steam and sex in it. So
it does.
whatever's lacking on this fourth season of you'll get from Bathhouse. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, that's it. I just love that that is now my angle. I'm like, I needed more sex.
I'm not gonna see Penn Badgley's pecker. I'm not watching it.
Yeah. But yeah, it is as steamy as a bathhouse, coincidentally.
Oh yeah.
What we
My
do?
recommendation is about a stalker. This is very steamy, stalker, and extremely unsettling from one of my favorite voices in crime fiction, Jar of Hearts. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
It's like, I mean,
It
yes,
works. It works, but
it does work.
everyone,
I actually
everyone
have
who's
it.
gotten this far in the podcast has
That's
read
it
Jar
right
of Hearts
there.
by this. My baby.
Yeah.
It is another Jennifer Hillier book, though. It is her
Mm,
first book called Creep, which is based off from the Radiohead song, I believe.
really? That's
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah. This book I loved. I read the duology recently.
Okay.
Um, it is about Dr. Sheila Tao, a professor of psychology. She's an expert in human behavior and begins an affair with the sexy, charming grad student, Ethan Wolfe. She knew she was playing with fire when she started this affair, but was consumed with lust when they were together, riddled with guilt when they weren't. She knows the 3-month fling with her teaching assistant has to end. After all, Sheila's finally engaged to a loving and kind investment banker who adores her, and she's taking control of her life. But when she attempts to end the affair, Ethan Wolfe won't let her walk away. No one else can. Ethan has plans for Sheila. Plans that involve posting a sex video that would surely get her fired and destroy her prestigious career. Plans to make her pay for rejecting him, and as she attempts to counter his every threatening move without her colleagues or fiance discovering her most intimate secrets, a shattering crime rocks the university. A female student, star athlete, is found stabbed to death. Someone is raising the stakes of violence, sex, and blackmail. And before she knows it, Sheila is caught in a terrifying cat and mouse game with the lover she couldn't resist, who is now a monster who won't let her go. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
That
whoa.
sounds thrilling AF.
I love a stalker. I
You
love an
do.
affair. I love there's just Jennifer Hillier is very gritty with
Obsession.
everything.
Hmm.
Yes. And Jennifer Hilly's very gritty, where she'll be like, Sheila was grading papers, and the next thing she know, her ankles were behind her ears and she was doing anal with Ethan. And you're just like,
She is
Jennifer,
amazing like that. It's just like everything is,
Jennifer. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then
Because
Sheila
doesn't
carries
like,
on with her day.
yes. Isn't like the
Mm-hmm.
opening line of Things We Do in the Dark about her nipples being hard because she's cold? It's at least in the very beginning, and that's even just like how the story starts. Like, it's
Yeah,
no
it's
big deal.
basically this woman. Yeah, she's arrested for her husband's murder,
Hmm.
and all she can think about is how hard her nipples are in the back of a
Yes.
police car.
Yes. But like that would be a viable concern if you got dragged out of your house like without a bra on in the middle of the night. You probably
Yeah.
would be thinking about that.
Yep. Yep. Especially when they're like, your husband's dead and we think you did it.
And you're like, shit.
So good. So good.
Hmm.
And then there's also Freak by Jennifer Hillier, which is the second book. So it's like a duology.
I love it. I'm gonna read those.
I recommend all Jennifer Hillier books.
I know. I still need to read obviously those. What is the Little Secrets? What's the pink cover one?
Little Secrets.
Little
Yep.
Secrets. I
And
haven't read that.
Wonderland.
And Wonderland. I do need
Yep.
to work through more of hers because I love
Little
her.
Secrets is her lightest one.
Okay, that's good to know.
So
I
it's
loved
if
Things
you
We
are
Do in
if
the Dark
yes, I did too.
and
Very
Chocolate.
bleak.
Yeah, that one
Very
was bleak.
bleak. Little Secrets is the one where if you want something by Jennifer Hillier because you love Jennifer Hillier's writing, which you should
Mhm.
and everybody should.
Yeah.
Um, but you don't want that super bleakness. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good one to go
That's good
with.
to know.
Probably compared to other authors, it is probably bleak, but compared to her other books, it's not
Mm-hmm.
as bleak,
Yeah,
if
it's
that
not as
makes
heavy.
sense.
That makes sense to me from the two I've read. But I also picked a book about friendship obsession.
Oh my God, like
Um,
us.
pretty much. Well,
I would love if
hopefully,
you stalked me.
I know you would take the compliment. You'd
I'd be like, oh my God. I'd be
be
like
like, you
leaving you
came all
snacks
the way
outside my
here.
house.
Yeah.
I'd be like leaving you like a little like gift bag. Like a little like no, that's like here's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Have a good
Yeah, you
day.
make me snacks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me
like
know
a
when you clock
brewer.
out from your stocking job and we can go out to dinner.
That would be funny. Now I'm probably gonna have a dream about it since
I hope you do.
you're in my dream world now,
Yeah.
officially.
Have a dream that you're stalking me, but I like leave a little like cravings box from Taco Bell outside for you.
Mm. That's a good dream. It's probably too happy for me to have because I like have 90% bad dreams, unfortunately. You want to talk about bleak?
Mm. Have you always been that way or just since you met me and started reading the books that I recommend?
No, I was always that way. And I would have like night terrors in the sense that like I would be like throwing my shoes at stuff and they were like struggling to wake me up.
Wow.
It's yeah, and I used to sleepwalk a lot more than I do now. Like I would just appear in my parents never slept in the same room, but I would like appear in my mom's room and she'd be like, "You need to go back
I
to bed."
mean, I'm the one that told you about my dream where the man was stabbing me in my sleep and all I was doing was yelling out
To
like
Siri, right?
descriptions to Siri. Yeah. Yelling out descriptions to him or to
I thought that
Siri
was
about the
brilliant.
man that was murdering me.
I still think about that scene of your dream sometimes. That's
It was
how
very much like
amazing it is.
I think
And
the
there's
only thing that
also
made me yeah, also what?
go, I'll
No, you
remember.
go. No, you go.
There's also a movie that has like a really similar scene in it that I saw. I'm trying not to tell you what it is because I don't want to ruin it. But there was a movie that I saw a couple days after you had that dream that uses that. And that's all I'll say. But it blew my mind.
No,
And
I
I
want
know
to know
you
the
haven't
movie.
missing the searching kind of sequel with
Oh, okay.
I can't think of you. Yeah. Yeah. And it they like use that in the movie. And I was like,
It's funny because my friend Nicole and we've always been like talking about that Idaho case of
mhm,
the four murdered college students and
yep.
how much even though we are so far from Idaho how much it like impacted us like and how scared we were and like how like
Yeah.
the dream would have scared me more but in my dream it was a combination of first person viewpoint and watching
Ooh.
it like it was a movie. So when I was like, I rolled over in my bed, I could see it like out of my own eyes, right? Like as
Mhm.
I would
Yep.
anything in life. And I saw the man there and I saw the
Yep.
knife like glisten from the moonlight coming in from my bedroom. And I was like,
Cinematic.
oh fuck. And I like rolled over and tried to like get away on the other side of my bed.
Mhm.
And then when he started to attack me, I was watching it from the end of my bed and I could see myself getting murdered. Like I could see like my bloody hand like
It's
grabbing my
fucked.
phone and like yelling things and like
Oh my God.
blood flying everywhere and like my sheets and like everything. It was just insane.
You're
Maybe it'll
also the
pop
first
up in a
person I've
book.
talked to about switching perspectives because I have that happen in my dreams, but I've never like talked to anyone about it. Just it's never come up.
Do you know what I think it is?
I don't, but I'm
I
excited to hear.
I always read things where I always read things about when women, not on purpose, but I feel like I pick this out when women are sexually assaulted or robbed or attacked. They always say that they had an out of body experience where they were watching it happen to themselves.
Yep.
And that's something that's always stuck with me whenever
Yeah,
I hear a story about that, or
that
something
fits.
where they say that something so traumatic like that,
Mm,
that they have that out of body experience. So I think that, like, in my mind, I was like, that must be
yeah.
horrifying to go through
Yeah.
anything like that, but to also have that out of body experience where you're basically watching it happen to yourself and you're like, you know, doing what you can
That's a really
to
good point.
fight trauma as it's happening.
Right.
And I think that's what happened in my dream. I think in my
Yeah.
dream, like, I was seeing it from my eyes until I rolled over and was like, you're not fucking getting anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
this is what's going to happen to you in about like 2 seconds.
Ugh,
And then I started seeing it from, yeah. And then
that's
I
a
like woke up
really,
the next morning. I was like, oh my God, that was fucking crazy. But it would also be a really good idea for a book.
I know it is a really like all of that so cinematic, which is why I have thought of it. My zombie one when Tyler was in Anaheim, my zombie demon one was that one stuck with me. And to the
I can
next night,
imagine.
just the image was so fucked up. So,
I do have one dream that I had, like, I would say probably 25 years ago at this point,
whoa.
and it has still stuck with me to this
Yeah.
day. Um, in my house, the back of it is like,
Mhm.
there's my backyard, there's a barbed wire fence, there's a field, and
Mhm.
there's a forest. So, like, if you see anything back there, it's not good, right? And
Yeah.
but there's like, I've shown you this and told you there's like 4 or 5 different ways to get into my house. And one
Yeah.
of them is a back door to my kitchen, which I always make sure is locked.
Hmm.
And I had a dream one time that I was walking into my kitchen to lock the door, but as my hand went to touch the doorknob, the door flew open and like all of this wind came like at me and I couldn't like push the door shut. And then I woke up.
That's terrifying.
I think it was the Blair Witch that did it.
Probably.
Yep.
Dreams, man.
Fucking crazy. Crazy.
Now that we've had our dream corner,
Hmm.
um, I can't even remember if I said the name, but the friendship obsession book,
Oh yeah.
uh, is Never Have I Ever by Jocelyn Jackson. So if I said it already,
Ooh.
oh well. Yeah. So Amy Way is proud of her ordinary life and the simple pleasures that come with it. Teaching diving lessons, baking cookies for new neighbors, helping her best friend Charlotte run their local book club. Her greatest joy is her family, her devoted professor husband, her spirited 15-year-old stepdaughter, her adorable infant son, and of course, the steadfast and supportive Charlotte. But Amy's sweet, uncomplicated life begins to unravel when the mysterious and alluring Angelica Rue arrives on her doorstep one book club night. Sultry and magnetic, Rue beguiles the group with her feral charm. She keeps the wine flowing and lures them into a game of spilling secrets. Everyone thinks it's naughty, harmless fun. Only Amy knows better. Something wicked has come her way. A she-devil in a pricey red sports car who seems to know the terrible truth about who she is and what she once did. When they're alone, Rue tells her that if she doesn't give her what she asked for, what she deserves, she's going to make Amy pay for her sins one way or another. To protect herself and her family, and to save the life she's built, Amy must beat the devil at her own clever game, matching wits with Rue in an escalating war of hidden past and unearthed secrets. Amy knows the consequences if she can't beat Rue. What terrifies her is everything she could lose if she wins. Oh, it's so fun.
So
That's one that
fun.
I will reread someday.
I don't blame you. I really enjoyed that book. I also think the reason that it's so perfect for you
Mm-hmm.
is, you is kind of this story. The reason that this show started off is because sometimes you don't realize what you're posting on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very easy for Joe Goldberg to find this woman, find her
Yeah.
social media, find out where she hangs out, find out who her friends are, what she's interested in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much that you put out without thinking it, like
Mm-hmm.
that with this as well, it's like you have this tale of obsession, but it's somebody out there that knows more about you than you realize.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's creepy.
I mean, somebody
Very
could come up to me and be like, "You like really bleak thrillers, Taco Bell, and Tall
right.
Toxic Men," and I'd be like, "I'm getting in this van,
Yes. Right.
hop right in."
Yeah.
I
It
loved that
is
book.
it is a creepy feeling.
Yeah, yeah, because sometimes people put things out there, and
Mm-hmm.
leads them to dangerous situations.
Yeah.
Like we always say, if you're going to go on The Real Housewives, don't do it if you are doing illegal activity.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you just shouldn't do if you're on reality TV.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we don't even have time.
Speaking of reality television,
Ooh, love it.
the best segue ever. My
Yes.
last, my best, my favorite, the laugh out loud, thrilling murder mystery for all fans of Bravo, The Favorite Sister by Miss Jessica Knoll.
I need to read that one too.
You're gonna fucking love it. Brett and Kelly have always towed the line between supportive sisters and bitter rivals. Growing up, Brett was the problem child in the shadow of the brilliant and beautiful Kelly. In adulthood, all that has changed. Kelly is a struggling single mother, and Brett has skyrocketed into such success, which has been chronicled on a reality TV show called Gold Diggers. When Kelly manipulates herself onto the show and into Brett's world, Brett is right to be threatened. Kelly and only Kelly knows her younger sister's appalling secret, and it could ruin her. When the truth comes out in the explosive final weekend of filming, neither of them even expected that the season would end in murder. Um,
Murder.
I paused when I was reading that, and I might have seemed surprised, and it was because I started to drop my phone when I was reading the synopsis, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, Brett and Kelly have always been supportive sisters on this reality show. Brett and Kelly have always been supportive sisters, and I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, it's amazing.
I know. I
Multiple
need to.
POVs, a group of
Mhm.
very distinct women. I love it. And Jessica Knoll, like said, she watched so many of the Real Housewives shows
Oh,
when she
that's
was
so
writing
cool.
this. Hmm.
I definitely need to read this then,
She sent me a
since I love
personal
reality
signed
TV.
copy.
That's so exciting.
Hmm.
She's the
I love her.
best.
I
I
love
know.
her very much. Jessica Knoll, if you ever listen to this because you are just, I don't even know, who's the ultimate cool girl? Jessica Knoll.
In what? Yeah, Jessica
Anything, anything.
Noel.
Like Molly Ringwald, right?
Mm-hmm.
She would
Mm-hmm.
be one.
Yep.
Like
I always
Jessica
think of
Knoll, Naomi Campbell,
mhm.
Rihanna.
Rihanna definitely.
Okay, that's mine. Yep.
That girl Riri.
I feel the way about Jessica Knoll being the ultimate cool girl that America feels about Rihanna being the ultimate cool girl. That's my
Mhm.
final stance.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
Like if
respect
I
it.
were a woman, I'd be like shopping where she shops.
I know.
She's just
Trying. Yeah.
fucking really cool. And she does not have to try one bit to be that fucking cool. She's just like wakes up cool, goes to bed cool, takes naps cool, has a cool dog, has like a funny, like sarcastic
Oh
husband.
yeah, her dog is amazing.
Beatrice is the bomb.com.
Yes. Yes.
Beatrice was like, we did a live together
Uh-huh.
in like 2020, which was like my story of like if you want something, like just shoot your shot and aim for the stars, because like
Yes.
my message to her was like, hi, like I know that you're probably never going to see this message, but like I've been doing lives with authors because of COVID and lockdown, and like you're obviously like my dream interview.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, sure, when and where.
So cool.
And she, like, when we were interviewing, she was like sitting like against her couch, and like Beatrice was like snoozing right there.
Oh,
My
I
God.
love that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
love dogs. They're the
So
best.
that is for you, Miss Jessica Knoll, the
Yeah.
ultimate cool girl. And this is like the ultimate cool book. Like, Luckiest Girl
Hmm.
Alive is very heavy,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes.
This one is not as heavy, and it's
Mhm.
just like insane and wild
And fun.
and fun.
It's in my rotation now. I'm gonna bump it up.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole list now. I
I
know what
want
I'm
to
gonna
read it
read
again.
for like 3 or 4 books forward now,
Ooh,
thankfully.
ooh, 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 ooh,
Because I
ooh,
need some
ooh,
like
ooh.
I need good ones that I know will be good.
I'm reading one I think you might like.
Oh yeah.
I'm 65 pages into Missing Clarissa
Oh
by
yeah.
Ripley Jones. It's a YA book, which
Hmm.
YA sometimes like it's very hard to work
Yep.
for me. This one's working for me.
Hmm.
Two friends decide that their like journalism project is
Hmm.
going to be to do a podcast about a cheerleader who went missing in their small town like 20 years before.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good. That really does sound
Two
good.
really good friends decide to do a podcast.
I know. Sounds a little familiar.
I think you'll relate. I think
I
you'll
know.
relate. I would like to take our podcast on the road and solve a cold case murder,
Oh,
though.
I know. Oh, that's another thing that you're gonna love in Poker Face, and I won't say anything more.
Fuck me. Okay.
But when you see it, you're gonna know. The other thing is I can't remember if I told you this already. They're standalone episodes each time.
Episodic.
Yes. Yep. That.
I'm literally
And
that kid. If
you
you and
are.
Tyler ever want to know what it's like to have a child, just have me around because you taught me the word episodic, and like
Yeah.
I can squeeze it into every episode of this
Isn't it the
podcast until I
best?
die.
That's how I felt when I learned about it. But my point being, you don't have to feel like you have to watch a bunch of it to remember anything. Like every single one is just like a completely new story, and
Hmm.
like Natasha's characters in all of it. But
I would watch her
um
do anything.
that's kind of how I felt. I was like, I knew it was getting really good reviews, and I was also like, I feel like I'll like what Natasha does. But there's so many really cool, clever humor reference. Oh my god.
I can't wait.
So yeah, you will enjoy it, and you're gonna have moments where you're like, oh, that's what Kate meant. So
I just need my mom to get home.
I know. You think she would watch that too?
Oh yeah,
Then yeah,
100%.
you'll just have
We
to wait.
watched the first season of Only Murders in the Building, but
Hmm.
she had like a few days before she left, and she was like, "What do you want? Do you want to watch TV? Like, what do you want to watch?" And I'm like, "Well, we can't start anything new because you're
Yeah,
leaving, you know."
yeah.
And I have no self-control whatsoever, so I probably would just like finished it, and
Hmm.
then she would have been pissed.
Yeah, you just have to wait.
And she's a little spitfire.
I love
Mm.
it though. Speaking of Spitfires, my last recommendation is from a Spitfire of an author named Samantha M Bailey. Watch out for her.
Motherfucker. How did I not think of this one? I am so, this is the thing about our friendship. I am so blessed that you thought of this one, even though
Yes.
I was like, damn, she stole one of my other ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is so good. And it has the
Fucking
same like
God.
kind of confusing feeling of you where you're like,
Mm-hmm.
you just have little bits of information that come together at the end.
Fuck.
But it is about Sarah Goldman, mother to 6-year-old Jacob, is relieved to move across the country. She has a lot she wants to leave behind, especially Holly Monroe, the pretty 22-year-old babysitter she and her husband Daniel hired to take care of their young son last summer. It started out as a perfect arrangement. Sarah had a childminder her son adored, and Holly found the mother figure she'd always wanted. But Sarah's never been one to trust very easily, so she kept a close eye on Holly, maybe too close at times. When she saw what she saw raised some questions, not only about who Holly really was, but what she was hiding. The more Sarah watched, the more she learned until one day she saw something she couldn't unsee, something so shocking that all she could do was flee. That rhymed. Um, Sarah has put it all behind her and is starting over in a different city with her husband and son. They've settled into a friendly suburb where the neighbors, a tight clique of good citizens, are always on the lookout for danger. But when Sarah finds hidden cameras in her new home, she has to wonder, has her past caught up to her? And worse yet, who's watching her now? It's so good.
So good. There's one part I'll tell you off camera
Mm-hmm.
that really sticks out with that book.
Yeah.
That I was like, wow, that was really fucked up and disturbing. But it also
Yes.
made sense to the plot. And I was like,
It
damn,
did.
I love her. I love her.
She's so sweet
Hmm.
and writes some crazy fun
Crazy
shit.
fucking shit. Yeah. Watch out
Yeah.
for her. So good. So good.
It was such a fun read. I
I
loved
love
that
that.
one.
Yeah, I did too.
5 stars.
Five.
Yeah.
5 stars.
All five.
Um,
So yeah,
yeah.
those are
Well,
our you recommendations.
not yet.
Oh, you have another one.
I
Nice.
found one on my
Yay.
bookshelf right next to me.
I love it.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
and this one is perfect for fans of you because you
Mhm.
know what's better than one stalker?
Two,
Two stalkers.
three.
You know what's better than no sex?
Tons of sex.
Tons of sex. Yes, I am talking about Couples Wanted by Brianna Coleman. Beautiful
Mm,
cover, gorgy,
yes.
gorgy. Um, be careful what you switch for.
Ooh.
Adventurous and open minded newlyweds Bridget and Roman are determined to keep their relationship exciting. So when they meet married swingers Corinne and Patrick, they're instantly drawn to their carefree glamour and warm promise of friendship. And after swapping spouses for one passionate, exhilarating night, Bridget and Roman feel fulfilled and closer together than ever until Corinne and Patrick begin to turn possessive, wanting more than them than Bridget and Roman can ever give. Soon the young couple is plunged into a nightmare of suspicion, lies, and secrets in which they can't trust each other or what they think they know about themselves. Pushed to the breaking point, they must uncover the truth behind the other couple's machinisms,
Machinations.
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 I've never heard that word before, but thank you.
Mhm.
So when the dust settles, there's no guarantee Bridget and Roman will ever have their love or anything else left to save.
Wow.
Machinations.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, it's so good. Do you know what it kind of reminds me of is like a Tyler Perry thriller.
Oh, I like that comparison. Or that's a
Um,
good
you know like how
description.
he does the
Oh my
they're like
gosh.
they're like a step up from like Lifetime movies, like they're just very like fast-paced popcorn binge worthy like
Kind of soapy.
yeah, like what's the one with Taraji P. Henson and Idris
Was that
Elba?
Empire? No.
No, there's like another
Or
movie
was
where
it?
he's like an escaped prisoner or something, and she's like at home in like a storm with a baby, and he like asks to use the phone, and like he's crazy.
I'm
Yeah.
looking. No Good Deed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I had never heard of this.
It's very entertaining. I mean, it's not going
Ooh,
to be groundbreaking, but it's very
right.
entertaining. But that's
That's
just like this book. That's how I felt when I was reading it.
uh-huh.
Not that I don't think it's groundbreaking, because there is something in it that I think is very like absent from a lot of thrillers.
Mm,
Um, and she writes such good books. So, Brianna
nice.
Cole is
I don't
my
think
girl.
I don't think I've read any of hers.
There's this one, and then she wrote a second one that I recently read,
Mm-hmm.
which has like a really gorgeous cover, and it's about like two sisters, and one of them is murdered.
Whoa. Oh
So,
my
but this one's
gosh.
just like sexy and like I love the whole like it's kind of like what I was saying about Seeing Strangers by
Mhm.
Sebastian J. Plata is like be careful who you let in your bedroom because like to them
Mhm.
they're like yeah sure let's swap partners and then they're like we did that we feel closer than ever we're fine
Mhm.
but the other couple's like we're not letting you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Obsessive.
Mm-hmm. Sexy sex obsessive.
That sounds really good. I'm
It's
gonna have
very
to
good.
read some first.
Mm-hmm.
She has a lot.
Yeah, I think I've only read two or three but I will continue to support my girl. Your icebreaker.
Oh, my icebreaker. That's why I felt like there was something that I needed to think of. One thing that came to mind, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting hung up. I'm getting hung up on of everything that I love. What do I want the most?
Right.
But I feel like, you know how Don't Worry.
Don't worry, darling.
Well, I don't want to give a spoiler, so I won't say that. But I think a continuation of Don't Worry, Darling that picks up where it ends
Mm-hmm.
would be really fun. Was one thing that
I
came to mind.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would
I'm
love
sure
to
I
see
could
that.
think of others, but that was I was like, it would be nice to see more of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a really good one.